Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review to Everton's 1-0 victory over West Ham United at the London Stadium last night. A fantastic victory for Carlo Ancelotti's Everton, an 11th away win on the road, making us, giving us the best away record behind Manchester City in the Premier League this season. And it's another sort of up on this roller coaster of emotions that this season has been, hasn't it? What a performance it was, what a win, and it puts us right back in the hat for, hopefully a strong finish at the end of the season, and even potentially a European finish. But it was a great victory. It was well fought. We dug deep, we fought, we battled, we worked hard, and we come away with a deserved 3 points. A great goal by Dominic Calvert-Lewin after an unbelievable ball by Ben Godfrey to score the goal and ended up winning the game. Everton had other chances in the game. It wasn't the greatest game of football, don't get me wrong. It wasn't the most entertaining game of football, but Everton done what Everton have done a lot this season away from home, and that's turn up a ground and set up to be very, very difficult to break down, set up to be very, very difficult to, play against and hit teams on the counter-attack. And ultimately we went 1-0 up fairly early on in the game, 20-30 minutes into the game, and then I think the game plan was to just sit everybody behind the ball. If we can break again and hit them again on the counter-attack, then do that, but if not, just don't concede the goal. And we were very, very strong in defence, other than a couple of opportunities that West Ham had. I know Jarrod Bowen hit the post, obviously Ben Rama had a header which is an absolute stone cold sitter, but other than that, Everton were very, very solid for the majority of the 90 minutes, and we kept West Ham at bay. And let's not forget, this is a West Ham team who have been scoring freely in the Premier League. This is a West Ham team with the likes of Jesse Lingard, Antonio, Jarrod Bowen himself, who have been ripping teams apart week in, week out, and constantly picking up points, scoring goals. I've watched West Ham a lot this season, and they've scored 2-3 goals in a game, and Everton really, really did nullify that attack yesterday. And like I said, we frustrated West Ham to the point where I think in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game, they were just sort of looking round as if to say, well, what do we do here? We can't get through this defence. We can't penetrate this impenetrable brick wall of a back line. And, I think a lot of that has to do with Yerry Mina coming back in, who we'll talk about a little bit later on. Obviously, he's gone off injured during the game last night, which isn't great, but hopefully it's nothing too serious. Ben Godfrey, who was an absolute mountain. Michael Keane, who, to be fair to him, I've criticised Michael Keane a lot this season when playing in a 5 at the back formation, but Michael Keane was absolutely unbelievable yesterday. The midfield was all over the show. It was Alan who was covering every blade of grass, winning the ball back, bringing the ball forward, trying to create chances. He was absolutely phenomenal. Tom Davies done brilliantly well as well. I think Tom Davies has really solidified himself now as that midfielder next to Alan. I know obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré was back on the bench yesterday, didn't come on, which is a good thing really. It means we didn't really need him, and it means that we hadn't risked him. Hopefully now he'll be ready to start on Thursday against Villa, if not definitely at the weekend against Sheffield United. But I think Tom Davies has really sort of solidified himself as that other midfielder alongside Alan and Doucouré when he comes back into the team. Obviously he took the place of Andre Gomez yesterday, and Tom showed that he's much more effective than Andre Gomez is in the middle of the park, even if it's just breaking up the play, even if it's just giving away fouls in the good areas to stop West Ham getting forward and counter-attacking. There was a number of times when we were having to commit fouls in the middle of the park, and we were having to break West Ham's play up, but all of that resulted in their frustration. All of that resulted in West Ham thinking, we can't do anything here, we haven't got a moment's time on the ball. And this is the type of Everton performance that we've seen so much away from home this season, so it's not massively surprising, but we haven't seen it anywhere near enough at Goodison Park. And I said to myself after the Villa defeat, it wouldn't surprise me if we turn up and beat West Ham United next week, because when we go away from home against sides, especially sides that are in good form and are playing well, we performed brilliantly, and we did it was pretty much the same against Leicester away from home. A few months back, we set up, we defended really, really well, we hit them on the counter-attack, and we won that game. We done it at Anfield against Liverpool, we'd even done it at Arsenal to an extent a couple of weeks ago. I know we didn't have a great amount of opportunities, and I know our goal came from a stupid goalkeeper mistake from their point of view, but we still defended really, really well and frustrated Arsenal and stopped them from getting forward and creating any clear-cut chances, and that's exactly what we did last night. And like I said, Everton have won 11 away games this season, which is more than any other team other than Manchester City, who've won 13. Our away record is absolutely phenomenal. Our away form this season is challenging for the Premier League title form. It's Champions League challenging form, but the thing that's let us down is our home form. Ultimately, is relegation form. It really, really is. And Everton have been given, we've given ourselves another chance here. Really, let's be perfectly honest. We all sat here last week after the Villa game, and I think we all sort of felt like Europe was, out the window a little bit. We all felt like it was maybe a step too far in for this season for. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. Stream decided to freeze. Listen, it's Monday morning, and sometimes that happens. Often on these streams, my computer decides to just absolutely just stop working, really. So anyway, what I was saying was, again, we might be sitting here come the end of the season saying, yes, our home form isn't good enough. Yes, we need to be better at home in order to finish in a European position. But the reality of the situation is that win last night has given us another chance, really. And I don't know how many chances we can keep having, because, we sort of said this after the derby. We said this after the game against Chelsea and stuff when we went on and we beat West Brom, we beat Southampton, but we still, again at home, we've still been nowhere near good enough. But we're 3 points behind West Ham now. Everyone's talking about West Ham this season, and rightly so, by the way, because they've had a fantastic season. But everyone's talking about this West Ham team as being, real challenges for the Champions League and a team that surely is certainly going to finish in a European position. But the reality of the situation is Everton are 3 points behind West Ham now with a game in hand. Now that game in hand is away from home against Aston Villa on Thursday night. They're without Ollie Watkins, obviously after him picking up a red card against Manchester United yesterday. So this is a big chance. Now we've given ourselves sort of a bit of breathing space, and we've given ourselves another opportunity. If we go out and we beat Villa on Thursday, which we absolutely should do, by the way. I know they beat us last week, and I know they performed very well, and I know they're a good team, but Everton should have more than enough to turn up, especially given the fact that they're without Ollie Watkins, and especially given the fact that we're away from home. This tactic, this style, this way of playing in which we've seen Everton adopt away from home this season should be more than good enough to turn up at Villa Park and get the 3 points. We've then got Sheffield United at Goodison, and look, there's only so many times we can sit here and say, yeah, we're still in this fight for Europe, we've given ourselves another opportunity. It means absolutely nothing if we turn up against relegated Sheffield United next weekend and lose. Every game now is a must-win. Every single game. We've got Manchester City on the final day of the season, which will be difficult, very, very difficult. Even though Manchester City might have won the league by then, probably will have won the league by then. Even though Manchester City, will be gearing up and trying to sort themselves out for the Champions League final. That's fine. They still will have an awful lot of quality in that team on the last day of the season. Manchester City could play their third strength team. They could play their reserves, and it'd still give Everton a game of football because they're a very, very good side. They're a massive squad, and they've got, players. They've got about 30 players that are just top quality. So that game is going to be extremely difficult. It's away from home, so I've got a little bit of confidence. But the reality of the situation is, every other game before that Manchester City game, we've got Villa on Thursday. We've got to win that. No excuse. Sheffield United at home. Yes, it's at Goodison Park. Yes, we've been bad at Goodison Park, but let's turn it around now. There's no excuse to not beat Sheffield United at Goodison. We've got Wolves at Goodison as well, which again is a game that we're more than good enough to win. Wolves have had a poor season this season, so there's no excuse that we shouldn't turn up and beat them. And then, like I said, we've got City on the last game of the season, but if we can go into that City game having beaten West Ham, having beaten Villa, having beaten Sheffield United, having beaten Wolves, then hopefully we'll have put ourselves in a position where Europe is nailed on, regardless of the City result. But at least we'll be able to say, well, do you know what? We had a good run of wins towards the end of the season, and where we finish, we finish. We know ultimately at the end of the day, the home form is gonna hurt us come the end of the season, because we'll be sitting here saying, if we'd have beaten Fulham, if we'd have beaten Burnley, if we'd have beaten Leeds, we could have finished closer to the top four. If we'd have won all of those stupid silly home games in which we've lost this season, Everton would be in the top four. Everton would be playing Champions League football next season. But the reality of the situation is we haven't won those games, but now we've been given a chance, or we've given ourselves a chance to again to go out and beat Sheffield United next week, to go out and beat Aston Villa on Thursday and to really, put ourselves in a position for a European finish. But look, it was a fantastic win yesterday. It really was a fantastic win. It was a well fought victory, and it's the type of win, like I said, that we've seen a lot away from home this season. Everton turning up and just making ourselves really difficult to play against, digging deep, fighting in the midfield, winning the battle in the midfield, but also defensively just being absolutely solid, not making any mistakes, being a brick wall. And it is, look, it's confusing, it's frustrating, because we go to Goodison Park and we can play the same team, we can play the same tactic, we can play the same style, and the back line turn into jelly. I don't know why, but it just seems like when we play at Goodison, I don't know what it is, but the players just, again, they just seem to fall to bits. Maybe we can go and stay in a hotel in the centre of the town before the Sheffield United game next week. Maybe, Everton and Carlo Ancelotti can take these players on a 2.5 hour drive before they turn up to Goodison Park next weekend to play Sheffield United, to make it look like they're playing away from home, or to make it feel like they're playing away from home, because, again... And I'll never fully understand how we can be so solid and so effective away from home, and at home be so poor. But look, again, our home form, it is what it is. We know it needs to improve. We know it's not being good enough, but our away form this season has been absolutely tremendous. And this was another big win, by the way. Again, like I said, West Ham are a team that score goals, they break teams down, they're difficult to play against, and we just made it impossible for them to do anything against us yesterday. I mean, they didn't have a shot on target. I think the Jared Bowen shot, where he hit the post and it deflected back off, and might have counted as a shot on target. But other than that, they had nothing. They had nothing in the game. If you're enjoying, I know they had the header, the Ben Rama header, which we'll talk about later. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. Only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to me. Try and get as many people involved as we possibly can. But Everton started the game, like I said. Again, West Ham were always going to see a lot of the ball. West Ham were always going to try and be that team that attack us. We sort of put the onus on West Ham, and we've seen this performance as well a lot of times against Everton this season at Goodison, and we can't deal with it. Everton can't deal with the way Everton play away at home, if that makes sense. West Ham, again, we sort of put the onus on West Ham last night. We said, go on, you have the ball, you come forward, you break us down, you get through our defence. Obviously, we started with a back line of Jordan Pickford in goal. Again, no issue with that. Jordan's been absolutely phenomenal in recent weeks. And we started with sort of a back, but what appeared to be a back five, but then Seamus Coleman's position sort of confused it a little bit. Obviously, we had Luca Dean at left back, we had Yerry Mina, Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey in the middle, and I think we set out to have Seamus Coleman as a right wing back with Luca Dean as a left wing back, but maybe at times Seamus Coleman was playing in the midfield. I think there was a lot of periods in that first half where Seamus was just sort of running around and he seemed like he had the free roll. There was times when he was in the centre of the midfield, there was times when he was playing on the left hand side, there was times when he was playing on the right hand side. He was just sort of getting about the pitch really, and trying to pick the ball up, and like I said, playing that free roll, which I don't particularly have any I don't have any worry with, to be honest with you. I thought Seamus Coleman rolled back the years again yesterday. I thought Seamus was absolutely phenomenal last night. There was a couple of times defensively when he left his man and when he left us a little bit exposed, but ultimately going forward he was getting involved, he was picking the ball up, he was digging deep, he was fighting. We then had a midfield, of course, of Alan, Tom Davies and then Gylfi Sigurdsson a little bit ahead of them, and then we had Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison as the front two, and everybody worked hard yesterday. Everybody fought. I know some players mightn't have had as good a game as others. We might be sitting here saying Gylfi Sigurdsson faded out the game in the second half, but the reality of the situation is every single Everton player dug deep yesterday. Everybody fought, from Richarlison at the top of the pitch, who was absolutely excellent for me. Happy birthday to Richarlison, by the way. It is his 24th birthday today, so a massive happy birthday to him. But Richarlison, who again, look, was he frustrating at times? Yes, he will be frustrating at times, because sometimes he picks the ball up and he wants to take on the world. He wants to get himself into a good area in his shoot when he, effectively he could pass it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin or he could pass it to Sigurdsson. I get that, but Richarlison's work rate yesterday, he never stopped. He didn't give that West Ham defence a minute. He was constantly running, he was constantly picking the ball up, he was constantly winning free kicks, he was winning the ball back. His work rate was absolutely phenomenal, and I think he was brilliant yesterday. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, again, we'll talk about the goal a little bit later on, could have had 2 assists as well. The midfield, Alan was everywhere, absolutely everywhere. breaking the play up, bringing the ball forward, creating opportunities. Again, we talk about trademark sort of abilities of a player or trademark personalities of a player. I think we're going to have to start trademarking that over-the-top chipped ball by Alan, because he's doing it frequently now, 2-3 times a game, and every time he does it, he provides an opportunity. He done it for Richarlison yesterday, chipped the ball over brilliantly, and I think Richie from a tight angle managed to win us a corner. He was absolutely excellent yesterday. It was a type of Alan performance. Look, Alan has been, he's had an up and down season this season, and not through any fault of his own, really. He come in and he was absolutely excellent for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. He was brilliant. He was a pivotal member of this team next to Abdoulaye Doucouré. Then obviously he got the injury for 2 or 3 months. He was out injured. We had to, sort of deal, we had to sort of accommodate ourselves without him. And then he come back, and look, we spoke last week about Alan coming out himself in an interview and saying it's not easy when you come back from a 2 or 3 month out injured. It's not easy when you come back from a hamstring injury and you're thrown straight back in, and you've got to try and, get yourself back up to that level, that match fitness level straight away. And we knew as soon as Alan, come back from injury, that for the first 2, 3, 4 games, he wasn't really on it. He wasn't up to pace. He wasn't quick enough. He was getting caught out, and that was because, like I said, he'd been out for 2 or 3 months, and as soon as he come back to fitness, we had to throw him in, because, we had no one else really that could do that role. Obviously, Tom Davies had come in, but other than Tom Davies, the midfield was really poor, so we had to throw Alan back in. But we also had to understand that Alan wasn't at the level that we're used to him being at. The last couple of games, Alan's been at that level. He was absolutely world class again yesterday. He broke the play up constantly. He was winning fouls. He gave fouls away when he needed to. Like I said, he was coming forward. He was trying to create opportunities. He was actively pressing the ball and fighting for the ball as well. He was showing that, again, although he mightn't have, he mightn't be blessed with the most pace in the world, he mightn't be blessed with the most energy, he'll still work his arse off. He'll still give it 110%, and he'll still get about that pitch. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that is enough, and it was enough yesterday to frustrate West Ham to the point where they ran out of ideas fairly quickly. They had a spell in the second half, which we expected them to, but we dealt with that really, really well. Like I said, Tom Davies in the midfield was absolutely excellent, and the back line were so solid. And like I said, West Ham started the game, and they were seeing the possession. They were starting to come forward, but you always felt, right, this is a massive game for Everton, actually, a massive, massive game. These are a side that not only have had a very, very good season, West Ham, not only are, challenging for Europe, but also, if Everton were to win yesterday, as we did, we put ourselves 3 points behind this West Ham team with the game in hand. Now, I know we're sick of talking about the game in hand. I know we're sick of saying, oh yeah, well, we're only 3 points behind you with the game in hand. I know it doesn't matter if we turn up on Thursday and get spanked by Villa, because that's the game in hand. So, I get that. But what I'm trying to say is, this is a West Ham team who, a lot of people have spoke about having an unbelievable season and being absolutely brilliant, and they are. We spoke in the preview last week about West Ham being so resilient and so well organised, and David Moyes just, again, getting it down to basics, bringing in the right players and making this West Ham team click. Well, we're talking about an Everton team this season who have let us down time and time again at home, and are still within touching distance, a couple of points away from this West Ham team who have had an unbelievable season and who are surely going to finish in Europe. It was a massive win, and like I said, possession-wise, yeah, West Ham had the ball, they were coming forward, they were trying to create chances, but you could always see that Everton were there. You could always see that Everton were sort of, again, we were ready to hit them on the counter-attack. We were ready to try and break the lines, and like I said, defensively, certainly in that first 20-30 minutes or so, we never really had any worry. Yerry Mina slotted back in, and for me, Yerry Mina proved himself yesterday to be our best centre-half. He really, really did. He's so vital in this Everton team, and the worry with Yerry Mina is that he's only just come back from an injury. He's played, an hour maybe yesterday? Did he even come out? He's played, an hour or so, and he's having to go off injured again. That's the big worry with Yerry Mina, is that his injury record, he's starting to pick up injuries constantly now, and it wasn't even a challenge. I think he just went down in the game and he had to come off. But for the time he was on the pitch, he was absolutely phenomenal. He was throwing himself in front of balls. Every cross that come in, he was throwing himself in front of. I said it in the instant match reaction yesterday, Jordan Pickford will have gone off that pitch yesterday and gave Yerry Mina a massive, massive hug, because every cross that was inviting pressure to Jordan Pickford, every cross that was lashed in by West Ham, Yerry Mina was on the end of it, whether it was with his head, whether it was sliding with his feet, whether it was just getting it out. He was absolutely brilliant, and that's what you get from Yerry Mina. And we knew yesterday going into this game that, as much as I like Ben Godfrey, I really do, and as much as I like Michael Keane, neither of them really sort of bring what Yerry Mina brings. And in that, I mean, Yerry Mina isn't afraid to get involved in the like I said yesterday, the nasty side of football. Yerry Mina isn't afraid to get involved with the physicality. He's not afraid to throw himself about. He's not afraid to, slide in and put his head where it might hurt or put his legs where it might hurt. He's not afraid to let strikers know, right, I'm here and you're not going to have an easy day because I'm here and you've got to put up with me. And that's what he did that's what he done with Antonio yesterday. I think it was within the first 10 or 15 minutes I noticed Antonio had the ball and Yerry Mina come behind him and just went right through him and put it out for a throw in. And it's those little things that Antonio would have been looking, thinking, I've got a difficult day here. I've got a big, massive 6'3" centre half who likes the physical game. He'll get involved with me. He'll rough me up a little bit. I'm not going to have an easy day at the office, and that's so vitally important, because if there's anything that we learned from the Villa game last week is that Ollie Watkins just absolutely ran the show. He had far too comfortable of a game. Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate, they didn't put pressure on him whatsoever. They allowed him to just run riot, and ultimately in that, Aston Villa created an awful lot of chances and ultimately ended up going on and winning the game, obviously, whereas yesterday we knew we couldn't afford to allow Antonio to do that. So Yerry Mina was absolutely excellent. Again, Ben Godfrey in the centre of the defence, just an absolute immovable object, isn't he? There was a couple of times when Jesse Lingard decides to just run into him to try and win himself a foul, and Ben Godfrey just stood up and was like, no, what are you doing? You're not getting through. Obviously, the pass for the goal is just absolutely unbelievable as well. We will get into the comments in a moment. By the way, if you're enjoying, please do hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Please do leave some comments in the live comments if you're watching. Really, really do appreciate that. But yeah, again, West Ham were trying to come forward. They were trying to break the lines, but we kept a really solid defence. Seamus Coleman at this point was running left, right and centre. He was everywhere. Luca Dean was, again, was getting forward. He was showing promising signs. I was a little bit disappointed in the opening sort of 15-20 minutes with Luca Dean, because I thought there was a couple of chances that he had where he could have crossed the ball in, or in fact, sorry, he did cross the ball in, but he could have actually brought the ball a little bit more forward. He could have ran into the box. He could have forced a chance, and he didn't. He just, he got into a good area and he crossed it, and the cross ended up not being good enough. And look, again, maybe I'm being a little bit picky here, but I just felt Luca Dean could have maybe got his head down and bursted into the box. But, ultimately he was getting in those areas. He was getting in the right areas to put those crosses in. And then, in a typical Everton away performance this season, we defend really, really solid. We get one chance, and we take that one chance. And I just want to say, before we go on to talking about the goal, and we will get into the live comments as well, we were finding ourselves a lot of time before the goal. Richarlison specifically, who, like I said, I thought had a really, really good game yesterday, was finding himself in forward areas, getting forward, trying to sort of create an opportunity, but realising that Dominic Calvert-Lewin was the only Everton player that was sort of in front of him, and he was marked by 2 or 3 West Ham players, and Richarlison was having to come back in on himself. And I did see a couple of people saying, oh, Richarlison's frustrating me, he's annoying, why is he cutting back on himself, why is he bringing the ball back? But if you watch it again, it's quite clear why he does it. It's because he's got no other option, and I'd rather Richarlison do that, to be honest. I'd rather Richarlison take 4 or 5 players on, break the line, get into a good area, look up, and realise, right, I can either lash this ball into the box and it's going to get cleared straight away because Dom's not going to get near it because he's marked by 2 or 3 West Ham players, or I can keep a hold of it, win a foul in a good area, or again use my feet and get it back to Alan or Sigurdsson or whoever else is behind me. I know it's frustrating when you're on the front foot and you're going forward and you're progressing and you're attacking, and then a player stops and turns round. I get that, but the reality of the situation is Richarlison's close ball control yesterday and his keeping hold of the ball, his hold-up play was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I think he lost the ball maybe once running forward, that was it. He was absolutely brilliant from my recollection anyway. And I get that sometimes it's frustrating that he doesn't play that pass or he doesn't take that risk, but the reality is there wasn't a lot of runners yesterday, and that was frustrating me in the opening 15-20 minutes, because I could see that West Ham were leaving space. I could see that West Ham were sort of maybe focusing a little bit too much on getting forward and trying to create their own opportunities rather than defending. So there was a bit of frustration in that opening 15-20 minutes that we were finding ourselves with a little bit of time and a little bit of space going forward, and nobody was really, other than Dom, nobody was really getting up to support Richarlison, and he was having to come backwards then. But the goal is a fine example of what playing a forward ball can do to you. We get into a good area, like I said, we come out, we hold the ball, Ben Godfrey picks it up, I think, from Michael Keane, and it's, to be fair to Ben, it's an absolutely unbelievable pass. We talk about Ben Godfrey being this versatile defender who can do anything, who can play left back, who can play centre half, who can play right back, who can play in midfield, but let's be perfectly honest with ourselves here. Ben Godfrey stepped into James Rodriguez's boots yesterday. Ben Godfrey went, no, you know what? I'm dead good at playing in the defence. I can play left back, I can play centre back, I can play right back. I fancy playing a little bit of a playmaker here. He stepped up and the pass is just absolutely exquisite. Don't get me wrong, it's not, he wasn't put under a massive amount of pressure, and it's in theory, when you watch it again, it's a pretty simple pass. It's one brilliant pass that just takes out the entire West Ham midfield and the entire West Ham defence. But it's the accuracy of that pass that's so important. That pass could have comfortably gone a little bit. He could have put too much weight on it, and Fabianski would have come and collected it. He could have not put enough weight on it, and Dom would have had to take it under control, and he'd have had a much more difficult time getting past Dawson. But he doesn't. He weights the pass absolutely perfectly. And there's been some people have been critical of Ben Godfrey and his passing this season, and sometimes that's been fair enough. I've seen some people say, no, Cam, he still doesn't know how to pass a ball properly, he still needs to improve that. Well, that pass yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I get that he had a load of space, and I get that he had the vision to see it. I understand that. But, again, just because he's got the space, just because he's not put under pressure, just because he can see the pass, doesn't mean that he's going to perfectly weight it. This is a lad who, again, is a centre half, and he's playing passes that, if James Rodriguez would have played that pass yesterday, we'd all be sitting here now saying, oh my God, it was unbelievable. If Gylfi Sigurdsson did it, we'd all be sitting here singing his praises. It's come from Ben Godfrey at centre half, who, again, I think Ben probably got a little bit frustrated, to be honest. I think Ben Godfrey was probably standing in that with the ball sort of on the halfway line, thinking, well, do you know what? We're not really getting forward enough here. We're not really breaking the line, so I'm just going to play a nice easy pass there, and Dom's going to run onto it. And to be fair to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I said it yesterday, those are the situations, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, turning his defender, again, a little bit of pressure on him. Those are the types of situations where Dom hasn't kept his cool this season, hasn't kept his calm, hasn't looked collected, as worried, as panicked, as hasn't looked composed. And we've all sat here the day after, or at the time, or an hour later, whatever it may be, and we've all said Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to improve on that. Now, don't get me wrong, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got a lot of improvement to do. He has, of course he has, because those one-on-one chances he needs to score more of, because there's been times this season when he's missed them. But I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again, we simply have to give Dominic Calvert-Lewin a lot of credit for that goal. We have to give him a lot of credit, because we'd all be sitting here giving him a lot of criticism if he didn't score. So we have to sit here and give him a lot of credit. He kept himself cool, he kept himself composed, he was collected, he didn't panic, he was calm, and he just slotted it past Fabianski. It was a really, really nice finish. It was a great ball by Godfrey, it was a great turn, he used his pace, he used his power, and he slotted it through. And the first thing I thought when Ben Godfrey played him through, and I seen Dom running one-on-one with Fabianski, I thought, just don't miss it. Don't miss it. And the sigh of relief that I had when he slotted it past the goalkeeper was just, it was massive. And it made, and I watched Dom's celebration, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't look like he was breathing a sigh of relief. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't look like he was thinking, phew, thank God I've buried one of them, because usually I miss those chances. He looked like he was confident. He looked like he was always composed. He looked like he was always going to score that. And for me, that tells me that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's gone away in training over the last few weeks and months or so, and he's realised what he needs to improve on, and he's improved on that. And that's for me, arguably the best thing about Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not only the fact that he scored 21 goals this season so far for Everton, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. I get that, he's missed some big chances as well, and that, again, he's missed some one-on-ones that he should have scored. But let's be perfectly honest, there's a lot of unfair criticism for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Some people saying we need a striker in the summer, we need a new number 9. We don't need a new number 9. Let's be honest with ourselves. Do we need another striker? Yeah, we probably do, because we need somebody to battle with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We need somebody to give Dom a little bit of a kick up the arse. Whether that's going to be Josh King or not, I don't know. Again, he come on yesterday for 5 or 10 minutes. He hit the post. He was unlucky to not get a goal. I actually thought he done okay yesterday when he come on. But you know what? If you were to ask me now, I don't think Everton will sign Josh King in the summer. Moise Keane is likely going to leave the football club, be it to PSG, Juventus, whoever. He's likely going to leave the football club. So We need another striker in the summer, absolutely, but we don't need another number 9. We don't need another out-and-out first-team striker who's going to replace Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We just need a striker that's going to come in and give Dom a little bit of a kick up the arse. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was excellent again yesterday. Not just the goal. He could have easily had 2 assists. Like I said, he played a brilliant ball into Seamus Coleman in the second half, which Seamus should have slotted. He played a fantastic chip ball over to Josh King, which, let's be honest, Josh should have done a lot better with. I mean, he was marked, but let's be honest, he got a connection on the header and ended up hitting the post from 2 yards out. But again, like I said, Dom, when he slotted that ball past Fabianski, I think the majority of us, as much as celebration, we sort of breathed a sigh of relief of thank God that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has scored a one-on-one opportunity, because we sort of had that feeling that we weren't going to get a lot of chances yesterday. It wasn't going to be a game of 7, 8, 9 clear-cut chances for Everton. It was going to be a game of maybe 1 or 2, and we had to take those chances. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't look like he was breathing a sigh of relief. He looked like when he scored, it was I've worked on those insane and I've put them in the match scenario and I've buried it. And Dom deserves a lot of credit for that, and a lot of credit, because we're all first to sit here and criticise him when he misses those chances. We're all first to sit here and say he's not good enough, he needs to improve. And does he need to improve going into next season? Absolutely. He's not the finished article, but this is a lad who's just scored his 21st goal of the season for Everton Football Club. Other than Romelu Lukaku, who was the last striker to score 21 goals in the season for Everton, he's getting better and better and better. He's shown there in the space of 2 or 3 weeks how we can miss an opportunity that we should be scoring, go away, work on that, come back a couple of weeks later, and this time put away that chance. Now if he gets another one of them against Villa on Thursday, I've got every confidence he'll put it away, because not only has he clearly been working on that, but he's gone into a match day scenario and he's put it past the goalkeeper. So when he comes one-on-one with the goalkeeper now, he's going to be cool, he's going to be calm, he's going to be composed. He's not going to think, shit, I don't do well in these chances. He's going to slot it past the goalkeeper like he did yesterday. It was an excellent ball by Ben Godfrey. It was an excellent finish. And at that time, you're thinking, brilliant, perfect. This is the perfect scenario for this game plan. We go 1-0 up. Again, half an hour into the game, and now just see it out. Defend. Don't let West Ham get anything on the ball. Don't let West Ham get forward. Continue being solid defensively. Keep that brick wall defensive line. If we get another opportunity, if another opportunity arises, take it. Go 2-0 up. Because if it had gone 2-0 yesterday, I think the panic would have completely sort of just drained out of us, because once it went 2-0, you sort of knew that, look, in any game of football, any team can concede, in the last minute. A last minute equaliser could have happened yesterday. But Everton, the way in which we play away from home and the way in which we set up away from home, will very, very, very rarely concede twice. So yeah, like I said, we scored a goal. We will get into the comments in a moment, by the way. And again, we set ourselves up, we defend, and the half-time whistle goes, and it wasn't the most entertaining of first halves. It wasn't the most enjoyable to watch, but it was effective. And at the end of the day, we're 4 or 5 games away now from the end of the season. I don't really care if Everton are enjoyable to. I'd rather you sit here and say, right, Cam, for the remaining 4 or 5 games of the season, Everton aren't very enjoyable to watch. It's not great to watch. It's not really entertaining, but it's effective. Rather than you say, right, Cam, Everton are dead entertaining to watch. You might win a game 4-0. You might lose a game 4-0. You won't really be that effective. It'll just be a bit manic, and, the result will be the result. I'd rather us be absolutely horrible to watch, boring to watch, but be effective than the latter, because ultimately it's all about winning games of football now. I said it before the Villa game. I don't care how we do it. I don't care the way in which we do it. Just go out and win. And we didn't win because at home we've been dreadful this season. This was the same scenario yesterday. It doesn't matter how we do it. Doesn't matter how well we play. Dig deep and win. And we played very, very well yesterday. Were we that entertaining? No. Did we create 15 chances? No. Did we score 7 goals? No. But we were effective. Everybody did their job. Everybody fought. Everybody dug deep. The defence were excellent. They didn't, other than a couple of chances, they didn't let anything get through them. The midfield was working hard. Alan Tom Davis working hard constantly. The strikers were working hard. Dom was, again, scored the goal, which was absolutely excellent. Richarlison was getting about the pitch, was making himself a nuisance for the defenders. It was effective. Everybody dug deep. Everybody fought. Everybody showed that mentality that, do you know what? We want to play in Europe next season. We want to finish as high as we can. We want to finish strongly in this Premier League. And that's something that absolutely had to be the case, by the way, because you had Alan come out before the game and say how important it is that we start winning games. You had Luca Dean who come out and said this game was a final for us. You had Dominic Calvert-Lewin before the game who come out and said we have to win every game now. We've simply got to win. So when the players are coming out and saying things like that, and I get that players have come out and said things like that before and let us down, but when Dominic Calvert-Lewin's coming out before the game and saying we absolutely have to win, nothing else is acceptable, then the minimum you expect from that team is fight, is to dig deep, is to give it 110%, is to show that heart, to show that passion, to throw themselves into challenges, to put themselves in harm's way. If we'd have played the way we did yesterday and lost 2-1 through a Jesse Lingard worldie and a Ben Rama worldie, then we could sit here and say, you know what, we fought, we dug deep, we were beaten by a better side, but we always knew yesterday that if we fought and dug deep and matched West Ham's energy and beat West Ham in the midfield, we'd win that game. West Ham are a good team, they've got good players, they're not a world-class side, they're a very, very beatable side, as we showed yesterday. And we've performed like this a lot away from home this season. This tactic we've employed a lot of times away from home is to just frustrate teams, defend in numbers, get everyone behind the ball when you need to, frustrate sides, and then be clinical on the counter. And that's what we were yesterday. Anyway, let's get into the live comments. Sorry I've rambled on for a bit. We will go back into talking about the game in a moment. I want to talk about the defence again. I want to talk about Seamus Coleman. I want to talk about Alan, Tom Davis as well. So we'll get into all of those in a moment. If you are enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Dugout Football Channel. Doug, what's happening? He says, morning Cam, huge win for you guys. It was, mate. It was a massive, massive 3 points for Everton. Massive 3 points. Again, it's another roller coaster ride. It's another high in this roller coaster of a season. And look, ultimately, if we go out on Thursday and lose to Aston Villa, maybe this result doesn't mean as much as we all first think it does. But I don't think we will go out and lose to Aston Villa, to be honest, on Thursday. I think we'll beat Aston Villa. The more important game and the more difficult game, if you like, is that Sheffield United one next week at Goodison Park. Adam says, morning Cam, I feel like a back three is the way forward for us. Big result, and hopefully we can go again Thursday. Yeah, look, we're away from home on Thursday, so, hopefully we can perform in a very similar fashion as to we did yesterday. But for me, look, again, the way forward, for me anyway, is performing away from home, performing at Goodison like we do away from home. And again, it mightn't be the most entertaining, and again, sometimes we need to set up maybe a little bit more positive at Goodison than we do away from home. Sometimes, away teams, the reality of the situation is, as I said before, Everton done to West Ham yesterday what a lot of teams have done to Everton at Goodison Park this season, and that's come to Goodison, give us the ball and put the onus on us. And Everton don't particularly do well, and we haven't done very well when the onus has been on us this season. We haven't, hence why we haven't done very well at home. We two of the best home games this season were Chelsea and Arsenal, Goodison Park. The two with fans in the stadium, the two games in which we won. Those were two games, certainly the Chelsea game, where the onus was on Chelsea to come forward and to try and win that game. And we performed a little bit like we perform away from home against Chelsea at Goodison, and we won that game and it was brilliant. A lot of games this season, certainly a lot of games in which we've lost. You look at your Fulhams, your Burnleys, your Villas the other day, your Newcastles, your Leeds, all of these games, we've come up against sides who have adopted the same sort of away from home tactic as Everton have adopted a lot this season, and Everton do it very, very well. But what I mean by that is they've come to Goodison and gone, right, the onus is on you, you have the ball, you break us down, you come forward, and Everton don't really deal well with that. We don't. We make silly defensive mistakes because the concentration goes, and we just automatically think, right, okay, well, the onus is on us now, so that means that we're not going to have to do much defensively. So our concentration just goes elsewhere. We seem to panic going forward. We don't have the composure in front of goal because it almost seems like this is such a mad. We've got such a mad team and a mad group of players because Dominic Calvert-Lewin almost seems like if we're playing away from home against the side that have got quality and he's going to get one chance, he's going to bury it. But when we're playing at home against the side like Crystal Palace, where we have 5, 6, 7 clear-cut chances, he doesn't bury any of them. It seems like in those games where it's going to be theoretically a lot easier for him, and he's going to have a lot more opportunities in front of goal, he doesn't take any of them and he panics. Whereas in the games when there's a lot more pressure on him and he might only get one chance, he slots it away. It's mad. It is mad, and like I said, I just want to see Everton perform with the confidence and with the fight and with the intensity and with the, effectiveness at Goodison as we do away. And I get that it's different. I do get that it's different because Sheffield United will probably turn up next weekend and adopt the same sort of tactic at Goodison as to that we did against West Ham yesterday, and that we'll probably do against Villa on Thursday, and that'll make it extremely difficult for Everton because, like I said, I just don't think Everton do well when the onus is on us. I don't think Everton do well when we're given the ball and we're told, go on, you break us down, you get forward, you create the chances, which is mad because at the start of the season, if you'd have said to me, right Cam, teams at Goodison Park, if you'd have said to me after that Brighton game and even after the West Ham game in the Cup, right Cam, teams are going to come to Goodison this season and they're going to give Everton the ball and they're going to basically say to Everton, right, you attack us, the onus is on you. I'd have said, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because we've shown in that first 4, 5, 6 games of the season that we're comfortable doing that. We're comfortable having the ball, we're comfortable creating our own chances, we're comfortable breaking teams down with our quality. But now, fast forward to May with 4, 5 games to go, when teams come to Goodison and do that and give us the ball and say, right, the onus is on you, we struggle. We really struggle. Again, we can't keep up the energy in the middle. We get caught out far too many times. We don't take our chances. We make stupid defensive mistakes, and ultimately we end up losing games or dropping points. Whereas away from home, when we don't have a lot of the ball, as Carlo Ancelotti, spoke about possession yesterday, he said, look, possession doesn't win you games of football, and he's right. He's absolutely right. But in the games where, again, we're up against it a little bit, we seem to perform a lot better. When we're away from home and we have to do a lot of defending, we defend brilliantly. When we have to be concentrated and when we're coming up against a team that can hit us and who've got a lot of quality, we're impenetrable defensively. But when we're coming up against a team that we should really be beating, who don't really have a massive amount of quality, we fall to bits defensively. When Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison have one chance in a game, they bury you, and we go on and win that game. When they have 5, 6, 7 chances, they don't bury you, and we don't win the game. It's baffling, it really, really is baffling, but like I said, this is a massive, massive win, and it puts us right back in that half for Europe. We play on Thursday now, which is our game in hand. We could go in to next weekend playing relegated Sheffield United and being level points with the West Ham team, who everybody have talked about having a brilliant season, given the fact that we've had, let's be honest, quite an up and down season, and at home we've been dreadful. So I'm sick of sitting here after an away win and saying about how brilliant it was and how good we were, and then after a home win saying no, we're not good enough to play in Europe because we're shit at home. It's simple now for me. It's absolutely simple. We have to win every single game up until that Manchester City game. I don't care how we do it. I don't care how we play. Just go out and win every single game up until our final game of the season, and whatever happens against City will happen because they're a very, very good team. But Aston Villa, no excuse. They're without Ollie Watkins, who's their best player at the moment. They might have Jack Grealish back, but still no excuse to not go out and win. Sheffield United, obviously no excuse. Wolves, no excuse. They've been dreadful this season. Where are we then? Big congratulations, by the way, to everybody who managed to get a Wolves ticket. I know the club have been sending emails around this morning. I wasn't successful, unfortunately, but if you were successful, massive, massive well done, made up for you. And I bet you can't wait to get back to Goodison Park and hopefully see Everton win at Goodison, which has been a rarity this season. Roberto says, morning, typical Everton lad. West Ham, no shots on target, I believe. Yeah, they didn't. I think they tried to class the Jared Bowen shot as a shot on target when it come off the post and it sort of just hit him, but I don't think it was classed. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. Only takes a second if you're new. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Robert says, Cam, what would you do with Mina? Plays decent but injury prone, 2 years left on his deal. Sell if we get a decent offer. It's a really difficult one with Yerry Mina. We're going to talk about Yerry Mina a little bit later on in the week. We're going to sit down and have a full in-depth conversation on him because as you quite rightly mentioned, then 2 years left on his deal, is picking up massive injuries now. He's picking up injuries often rather. Again, yesterday he come back from injury, he performed fantastically for an hour, 70 minutes, and then he goes off again injured, which isn't great to see. But the reality of Yerry Mina is that when he's on that pitch, he's our best centre half. So that's a decision the club are going to have to make. Do they sell him if they get a decent offer because of his injuries and because of the fact he's only got a couple of years left on his contract, or do they look at it and think, well, when he's on that pitch and if he can stay fit, relatively fit throughout the season, he's our most important defender. He's our best. Let's be honest, he's our best defender. Like I said, he's the only one in that back line that doesn't mind getting himself in a bit of a physical battle, doesn't mind throwing himself about. So look, that's a decision the club have got to make. For me, I'd be sad to see Yerry Mina go. And if Yerry Mina does go, I think we need to replace that bit of grit, that bit of fight, that bit of steel, that centre half that Yerry Mina is, in the fact that he'll throw himself in front of any challenge, he'll throw himself in front of any ball without really worrying. We need to replace that if he does leave the football club. But again, I don't want Yerry Mina to leave. I think he's great. If you're enjoying, please do leave a like. C-Play says, everyone should be talking about an improvement because we were dreadful. Yeah, it was a massive improvement, mate. It was a massive improvement to the Aston Villa game. It was. Ultimately, was it the greatest game of football? No. But like I said, it was effective. And that's all we ask for, is an effective Everton performance. And, you know, again, this is the type of performance and the type of away performance that we've seen a lot this season. Because, you know, Everton do go away from home and make ourselves very, very difficult to break down. And we go away from home and we hit teams on the counter-attack with fast counter-attack and play. Effective play. We're cool, we're calm, we're composed. At home, if you were to say to a non-football fan, right, watch this team now, you know, watch Everton yesterday in all blue playing West Ham United, watch the entire 90 minutes, and then you were to say to the same football fan, right, you're going to watch another team play at their home ground against Fulham or Villa or any of the other games we've lost at home this season, and they'd swear we were a different side. We play, you know, even from individual performers who away from home perform really well and at home make silly mistakes. It's mad. Eugene says, my man of the match yesterday was Alan. I thought Alan was great. Adam, she said Alan was brilliant, but I thought Coleman, besides that Ben Rama chance, was boss. Yeah, Coleman was exceptional. Toothy says, almost 4 a.m. where I am. Is right, Toothy. Thank you very much for getting involved. I get it's the middle of the night, so I want to thank you so much, as well as everybody. Thanks to everybody for watching live. If you're watching a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments. We'll get involved with as many of them. If you're watching live, get in the live comments. Big thanks to everybody for watching. Dominic says, going Everton versus Wolves. Is right, Dominic. Made up for you, mate. Brilliant that. Made up for everybody that managed to get themselves a ticket. And Adam Prentice says, play like that for the last 4 games and we should pick up a maximum point time. On Manchester City will put out youngsters, no doubt, if they've won the league already, which I expect. Listen, again, it's now up to Carlo Ancelotti to find that, you know, that effectiveness and to play in that way for the next, you know, few games. Yeah, we've got Villa away, so we're away from home, so I fully expect us to perform in the same way as we did yesterday. Got a couple of home games, which, again, might be a bit difficult to play in that way because we're probably going to have the onus on us. We're probably going to have the ball. We're probably going to be told, right, you attack us. But ultimately, we have to come away with the win. Anyway, let's get back into the game. Like I said, we go in at half-time and you're thinking, right, brilliant. You know, 1-0 up. We've been very solid defensively. Not been the greatest game, but it's a good half. It's a good half. We go in 1-0 up. And so far, we've looked very compact. And I think going into half-time, certainly in the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes of that first half, West Ham looked a little bit void of ideas. I think they seemed a little bit frustrated. They seemed a little bit as if they were thinking, what can we do? How can we break this Everton team down? What can we possibly do to break this team down? And then we all sort of knew that the second half, they would be they would turn it up a gear, if you like. We knew that. We knew West Ham were going to come out in the second half and sort of put their foot on the gas a little bit, and it was always up to Everton to deal with that pressure. We knew full well David Moyes wasn't going to go in at half time and go, right lads, these are dead difficult to break down, so just go out and do what you're doing. We knew he was going to give them a bit of a kick up the arse. We knew he was going to rile them up a little bit, and that was always going to be the big test for Everton yesterday. Not only was the test, you know, keeping a solid defensive line and you know, getting the goal to win the game, but the big test was always going to be when West Ham stepped the foot on the gas a little bit, can we deal with that? And we've, again, it's mad because we've seen this type of performance, we've seen this type of game pan out on a number of times this season. We saw it against Leicester, we saw it against Liverpool away, we saw it against, you know, we've seen it a number of times away from home this season where we keep a team out for the first half, we perform really, really well, we frustrate them, they then have a spell of 15, 20, 25 minutes in the second half, right at the start, where they go balls to the wall, and then towards the end of the game, the last 5 or 10 minutes, they get to that point where they think, what can we do, how can we break this team down? And it was always going to be yesterday, coming out in that second half, it was always going to be Everton, you know, being able to deal with that pressure of the first 20, 25 minutes from West Ham, because we knew they were going to come out firing, and we knew that David Moyes had probably said to them, right, playing in this way isn't, you know, you're not going to get anything playing in this way, so you need to be a bit quicker, you need to be a bit faster. And they come out and they were having a lot of the ball, they were getting forward, and Everton, again, in hindsight, during the game, I was thinking, where's the Everton of the first half gone? All of a sudden, we're under a lot of pressure. All of a sudden, we're not really keeping the ball. All of a sudden, we're not really getting forward, creating the chances. We're leaving a bit of space in behind. Where's that Everton of the first half? But in hindsight, thinking back, it was probably expected by Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti probably said at half time, right, these are going to come out firing now for at least 20-25 minutes. They're going to, try and beat you with pace, try and beat you with, quick football. So you've got to be able to deal with that. And like I said, for the most part, Everton did deal with that. West Ham had a couple of chances. Don't get me wrong, they did. The first from Ben Rama, which was worrying. An easy cross into the box, I think, from Fornals, who put the ball in. Again, we speak constantly about Everton blocking the cross into the box and not allowing teams to just put the ball into the box and hope that somebody gets on the end of it. We didn't block the cross. It comes in, and Ben Rama, to be fair, it's a sitter. It's an absolute sitter. If it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison up the other end, we'd be sitting here screaming our heads off. He's free at the back post. Seamus Coleman, who I thought had a very, very good game yesterday, completely leaves him, and he heads over from 5-10 yards out. Jordan Pickford don't think he could have done anything about it anyway, but he heads over, and it's sort of a bit of a wake-up call for Everton. We've got away with one there. Defensively, we shouldn't have allowed the cross to come in for a start, and also we shouldn't have allowed Ben Rama to be standing on his own at the back post. So we get away with one, and you're thinking, right, West Ham haven't had a lot of chances in this game, and they're probably not going to have a lot of chances. They didn't have one shot on target as it is, but we can't allow them to get away with chances like that. We need to be more solid, and like I said, there was a couple of times in that second half when the defensive shape sort of felt a little bit individually. Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey, Yerry Mina, all excellent. Obviously Yerry Mina had to come off, which threw a bit of a spanner in the works, to be honest with you, because obviously he'd been exceptional, absolutely exceptional. Mason Holgate come on. I think there was a lot of worry when Mason Holgate come on, but to be fair to him, he stepped in and he done a really, really solid job. He didn't do anything wrong at all. But again, West Ham were really starting to get forward. They were really starting to sort of almost seem like they've put the gear up a little bit. They've shifted the gear up, and they're looking for the equaliser. They then had another chance where they just completely waltzed through our midfield, and like I said, very complimentary of Alan yesterday, very complimentary of Tom Davies. I think the pair of them were absolutely brilliant for 99% of the game yesterday, but there was that one time when they were just caught out of position, I think, and West Ham found it far too easy to just run through the entire midfield, played the ball to Jared Bowen. Again, defensively, I think Luca Dean's nowhere to be seen, nobody's covering him. Jared Bowen gets on the end of it, he takes the shot, it comes off the post, and then it's him again, and Jordan Pickford collects it. We've got away with another one there, another big chance, and again, at this point you're thinking, right, just keep your shape. Just if you need to throw everyone behind the ball, throw everyone behind the ball. Just don't let them get any. Because if they'd got an equaliser yesterday, and again, I know Sky Sports were crying it in, I know Sky Sports were crying for West Ham to win, but if they'd have got an equaliser yesterday, it would have completely shifted the game, it'd have shifted momentum, and they'd have probably thought, right, we can go on and win this game here. And, again, the onus would have been on Everton then to go and get a second goal. And although we had chances, which we'll talk about in a moment, I don't think we were ever going to really go out and get a second goal. Maybe Josh Kings would have scored the header, but it was absolutely important that we kept that clean sheet yesterday. And when Jared Bowen struck that ball against the post, I thought, right, we need to throw everyone behind the ball here. We need to get back to where we were in the first half, and that's frustrating them, not giving them a minute's space, not allowing them to run through the midfield. If you need to throw a challenge in at the halfway line, throw a challenge in. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Alan done that on a couple of times. Tom Davies done it, giving away fouls, and I don't mind that. As long as you're not giving away a foul on the edge of the box. If you're giving away a foul in the centre circle or in your own half, I don't mind it whatsoever, because it breaks the play up. It stops their momentum. It stops them from getting forward and running through us like they did at that time when Jared Bowen hit the post. So I don't mind it whatsoever. And again, like I said, West Ham had that spell of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then after it, they sort of seemed a little bit void of ideas again. It was almost like they thought, right, we've stepped the foot on the gas a little bit here. We haven't come away with anything out of it. What more can we do to get anything out of this game? And in the last 10, 15 minutes, I think it was quite comfortable for Everton, to be honest with you. I really, really did. After that Jared Bowen chance, Everton got forward and we started to create. Dominic Calvert-Lewin got forward, and again, maybe should have done a little bit more with the ball. You think he rounded the goalkeeper? No, sorry, this was the Josh King chance. Before that, Again, he's got a good chance to slip Richarlison in, and for some reason he doesn't slip him in. I don't know why, but he doesn't slip him in. He ends up coming backwards on himself, but he plays an absolutely exquisite ball into Seamus Coleman. It's an excellent pass, and Seamus just can't get the ball out of his feet. In fact, I think if he hits it first time, it goes in and it's 2-0 and we've won the game, but he doesn't. I think he tries to take a touch and hit it, and he's put under a little bit of pressure by the defence, and Fabianski collects. We then have another chance. Josh King's come on at this point. Again, Josh King had come on, and I thought he'd done okay. Should he have scored his opportunity? Absolutely, but I thought he'd done all right. He picked the ball up almost instantly and used his feet well and got it to Sigurdsson, I think. And Sigurdsson, I think, put Dom through, but he just unlucky to not get anything on the end of it. But again, the ball's fed through into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He rounds the keeper, realises that it's a little bit of a tight angle, turns back on himself, thinks an excellent ball across the box, and Josh King rises. And you're sort of, again, Josh King has to rise above the defender, but you're sort of thinking, if you rise above the defender and you get a connection on the header, then surely it should be ruffling the back of the net, and it doesn't. He heads it onto the post, which is unfortunate for Josh King, because like I said, again, I'm still not going to sit here and rip into Josh King, because I still don't think giving him 6-7 minutes at the end of a game is really doing anybody any good. And I actually thought he'd done okay when he come on. Like I said, he hit the post. There was a couple of times when he won free kicks, he held the ball up well, and he just sort of saw the game out for us. But yeah, again, in the last 5 or 10 minutes, we were breaking forward, and we had an opportunity to score a second, score a third, and that's what I'm talking about with Dominic Calvert-Lewin's performance. Not just the goal, but Dom could have had 2 assists yesterday comfortably. Dom could have walked away with 2 assists and a goal, and Everton could have walked away with 3-0. West Ham fans, I seen West Ham fans on Twitter, not every West Ham fan, there was a lot of West Ham fans that were very complimentary, by the way. So, big respect to them. A lot of very complimentary of the way Everton played, but there was a few West Ham fans on Twitter who were saying, Stoke FC, and it was like playing Stoke. Hang on, he didn't have a shot on target all game. It's not like West Ham had 15 shots on target and Jordan Pickford pulled out 15 unbelievable saves and we hit them on the counter-attack, one scored and then threw everyone behind the ball. Yeah, we threw everyone behind the ball and we hit them on the counter-attack, but they didn't have anything. Jordan Pickford didn't have to make a save. He had a very quiet day, Jordan, which is what we want. We want him to have a quiet day. We don't want him to be, involved in games. But yeah, like I said, we see the game out. We get the 3 points and it's a massive, massive 3 points. It's a vintage Everton away performance. It's a performance in which we've frustrated the opposition. We've hit them on the counter-attack. And the irony is, if you put Everton at home against any team in the Premier League, even, again, some of the worst teams in the Premier League, and you give us all of the ball and you say, right, you come forward, the onus is on you. We just don't like it. We just struggle. We don't seem to like that responsibility. But yesterday, responsibility is a big, big word, and it's a word that we've mentioned a lot of times in recent weeks about these players not wanting to take responsibility and not wanting to take the game by the scruff of the neck and not wanting to actively go out and fight and dig deep and battle for the win. Well, he did yesterday, from Ben Godfrey to Yerry Mina to Michael Keane to Luca Dean to Seamus Coleman to Alan to Tom Davis to Richarlison to Dom to Sigurdsson to Jordan Pickford. Everybody dug deep, to Josh King, Mason Holgate when he come on, Fabian Delph, there we say it. Everybody dug deep and everybody wanted to win that game of football and wanted to show that. Do you know what? Maybe it mightn't be the best game, it mightn't be the best performance, but we'll dig deep and we'll make it effective, and that's exactly what it was. I want to talk, before we finish, about some individual performers. I want to talk about Tom Davis, I want to talk about Alan again, I want to talk about Richarlison, because I think it's important that we talk about Richarlison, because I think his work rate was absolutely phenomenal. But we'll get back in the live comments before we do that. If you are enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Gamba says Godfrey was man of the match. I think he was brilliant, mate. I think he was absolutely exceptional yesterday. Toothy says DCL always had potential for improving on his finishing inside the box. Remember that goal he had on his weak left foot against Brighton away 2 years ago, where he just pinged it into the far corner. It was one of Silva's last few games. We lost 3-2. Yeah, absolutely. Look, Dom has shown previously that he's a good finisher of the ball. He can finish. I think Dom's issue hasn't been his ability to finish. I think it's been up here. To be honest, I think Dom's issue this season, certainly with a lot of the one-on-ones he's missed, have been his composure, his calmness, his sort of not being able to get his head down in front of goal and just think, right, I'm going to slot this back, because they're the easiest finishes for your number 9s, for your goal scorers. If you were to ask any one of the best number 9s. If you were to sit down with Romelu Lukaku and say, what do you think's the easiest finish? He'd probably say 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, because it's all on you then. You've just got to slot it past them. Now, Dom has struggled with 1-on-1s, as we know, and Dom needs to improve on that, as we know. Scoring 1 doesn't make up for the 6, 7, 8 that he's missed in games, but what's so important and what's so refreshing to see is that Dom has clearly gone away recently and worked on that. He's clearly gone away and thought, right, I need to improve. Even if it's just improving how calm he is in those situations, even if it's just improving his composure in those situations, he's gone away and he's done that, and he's come back, and we've had, okay, again, we had the Coleman chance, which was a a decent half chance. Josh King gets the post, but let's be honest, we had one big chance yesterday, and it was that. The Josh King chance is okay, you can say that, but taking away the Josh King chance, we had one big opportunity yesterday and we buried it. And it was a massively important goal for Everton Football Club, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin deserves so much credit for that. But I agree, he's always been able to finish, he's always had it in his locker, it's just been his composure in front of goal, and he showed yesterday that he can have that composure, and he needs to do that on a more consistent basis. Gamba says our centre-backs were on point, especially Mina. I agree. Evertonian Luke says, just hope we don't bottle it now. It's in our hands again for the 100th time. At least Carlo come out and said next season we'll be able to buy players to play more attacking football. Yeah, well look, again, Carlo Ancelotti isn't hiding the fact that this Everton team can't really play the most attractive football that we want to watch. We can't really go out and make it pretty. We can't go out and make it, fantastic. Dominic Calvert-Lewin said it yesterday. He said it wasn't pretty. But I don't know if anybody else feels the same. But as an Evertonian, I don't really care if it's pretty, to be honest. I'm not arsed if it's pretty. I'm not arsed if we score 4, 5, 6 goals. I'm not arsed if it's excellent to watch for the neutral. I don't care. As long as we win the game of football, I don't care how pretty it is. I'd rather it be effective over pretty. Put it that way. And yesterday was effective. There was fight, there was energy, there was passion. We dug deep, we battled. We were first to every ball. We made sure that West Ham, other than those couple of chances we just said, we made sure that West Ham didn't really get much on the ball. He didn't really have much time to think, and that's what being effective is. Doesn't matter if it's pretty, it doesn't matter if it's brilliant to watch. I don't care, as long as we're winning games. For too long this season, too many games this season, it's not being pretty and it's not being effective, and we haven't dug deep, and we haven't battled, and we haven't worked hard, and we've made silly defensive mistakes, and we haven't taken our chances up the other end of the pitch, and we've lost games. We were effective yesterday. We took our chances, we defended well, we worked hard, we battled, and we've come away with a hard fought win. Tudor says Sheffield United and Wolves don't have anything to play for except pride. Villa still trying again in Europe. Yeah, I agree. And Villa again is away from home, and I expect us to go out and perform against Villa on Thursday like we did yesterday, and hopefully get the 3 points. And look, Sheffield United and Wolves, they must wins. I know it's at Goodison, and I know we've spoken a number of times about our form at Goodison this season, but there's no excuse to not go out and win those games. C-Play says Richie was fantastic, deserved the goal. I agree, mate. Tudi says we're not finishing above anyone on goal difference if we tie, so we've got to win these remaining games. That's a really, really good point, by the way. Really good point by Tudi there. Our goal difference is abysmal compared to everybody else. I think we're 3 points behind West Ham, and I think they've got a goal difference of 16 or something like that. Teams like Liverpool, Tottenham, I think they're near in the 20s. Everton's goal difference is 4. So we can't rely on we can't rely on finishing above these sides through goal difference this season. We have to win games of football. If Everton go out now and win and beat Sheffield we go out and win and beat Aston Villa, Sheffield United and Wolves, and then again get a point against City, and we finish outside that top 6 or 7 on points, then we can sit here and say, well, we done everything we needed to do. We won every one of the remaining games. Again, even if we beat City, great. We won every one of the remaining games. Then, we've lost out due to other teams winning their games and Everton dropping points against silly teams at home all season. But if Everton go out and, again, like I said, if we drop points again, if we don't beat Aston Villa on Thursday, if we don't beat Sheffield United, and if we finish level on points with a Tottenham or a West Ham or a Liverpool, then it's almost going to still be the same as if we finish below them on points, because our goal difference is significantly worse than those other teams. So unless West Ham get beat 18-0 against Brighton next week, or Liverpool lose 15-0, we're never going to be able to match any of those teams above us on goal difference. So we have to be able to beat them We have to be able to finish above them 3 points, and that means we have to win every one of our remaining games, and we do. Again, like I said, taking away City, going into the City game, we have to have beaten Aston Villa, Sheffield United, and Wolves. No question about it. No question about it. If we haven't, then I think Europe might be fully out the equation. I know we said last week after the defeat to Villa that Europe was out the equation, but if we don't win those 3 games, I think Europe is definitely out the equation. But if we do, then who knows? West Ham might feel the pressure now. They might feel like, oh crap, it's the business end of the season. They might start to drop points. Who knows? Toothy says, who do you think we're definitely selling this summer, Cam? Bernard and Delph for sure. Well, I think we can only sell the players that we receive bids for, can't we? I think Delph, again, if we receive a bid for him, I think we'll sell him. But whether we receive a bid for him or not is another question. I think Bernard will leave. I think Moise Kean will leave. Again, it's difficult, isn't it? It is difficult because it depends on, it depends ultimately on who, we receive bids for. And if we don't receive bids for Bernard, then he won't leave. If we don't receive a bid for Delph, then he won't leave. Daniel says 9 points from 12 is what we need. Well, effectively we need 12 from 12, but we need 9 from the next 3 games going into City. Absolutely. And Daniel says we've got fans back for Wolves. Absolutely, mate. Mark's thoughts on Josh King, Cam. Apologies if you've talked about it already. I haven't talked about it, mate. No need to apologise. Look, again, it's clear that Josh, for some reason or another, just isn't. Obviously, he isn't doing it insane, or Carlo Ancelotti doesn't quite fancy him. Bringing him on for merit in the last 5-6 minutes of a game, I think even Carlo knows that it's not really going to do much. I think even Carlo probably thinks, right, I'll just bring him on to sort of appease the fans and to sort of make them think, right, oh, here's Josh King. Whereas, let's be honest, if Carlo had any real trust or faith in Josh King, forget substitution appearances, he'd have started games by now, because there's been a number of chances where Josh King could have started and he hasn't. He's gone with Alex Iwobi, who's proven time and time again this season that, he's not consistent enough to be in this Everton team, but he's gone with him over Josh King. So again, he should have scored that header yesterday, and he was unlucky, and I actually thought he had an alright game yesterday off the bench, but I just think it's clear that Carlo doesn't quite fancy him. Anyway, let's talk about some individual performances before we finish up. Tom Davies yesterday, for me, showed that he should be in this Everton team week in, week out. Tom Davies showed that he is the partner to Alan. Yes, Abdoulaye Doucouré is going to come back in, obviously, within the next couple of weeks as he come back to fitness. Brilliant to see Abdoulaye Doucouré on the bench yesterday. But Tom proved that he is that other midfielder to play next to them. Okay, maybe, James fits in there and you have Doucouré, Alan and James, and that's fine when James is fit because he brings that creativity. But if you're playing a midfield 3, then for me it's Doucouré, Alan and Tom Davies. Tom Davies was exceptional yesterday. Breaking up the play, again, giving away fouls in the right areas, winning the ball back, controlling the ball. I just thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. He was effective ultimately, and look, again, he didn't get an assist, he didn't score a goal, he didn't make any heroic defensive clearances, but he still showed how effective he is. He's still a lot more effective than having an Andre Gomez in there, or a lot more effective than having a Gylfi Sigurdsson as a centre midfielder. I think Gylfi's effective in other areas, but not as a centre midfielder. So Tom, I thought, was spot on yesterday. Alan, again, like I said, back to the Alan that we were seeing at the start of the season. World class performance by Alan. Took the game by the scruff of the neck. Proper leader performance. Showed his leadership. Showed his ability to throw himself in, win the ball back. Also his ability to get forward. Alan isn't just a pit bull who'll win the ball back and play it off to somebody else. Alan isn't afraid to pick the ball up, take 3 or 4 men on and get into a good area and play a dinked ball over to Richarlison or play a ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He was absolutely exceptional yesterday. Seamus Coleman, rolling back the years, absolutely rolling back the years. He was phenomenal everywhere, winning the ball back, again showing his fight, even screaming F off to Soufal when he threw himself on the floor, tried to win a free kick, just showing how much it means to him, showing how much he wanted to win that game of football. Thought he was brilliant yesterday. Like I said, Dominic Calvert-Lewin before, his goal deserves a lot of credit. I thought his overall performance was fantastic. Getting about the pitch, working hard, winning the ball back, making a nuisance of himself. And Richarlison as well, who I think deserves a massive shout out. Look, is he frustrating at times? Yes. Could he pass the ball maybe to Dominic Calvert-Lewin in certain situations, or Sigurdsson? Absolutely, yes. But his work rate yesterday, he really put himself about, and you could see that the West Ham back line were focusing a lot on Richarlison, and in doing that, They were leaving Dominic Calvert-Lewin with space to run into. They were leaving Dominic Calvert-Lewin with space to pick the ball up and to win the aerial battles. And I think a lot of that is down to Richie. I think he deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit for yesterday. He worked really hard. He battled. He won the ball back. He held the ball up really, really well when he needed to as well. And I think it was a top performance. Put it this way, he was a goal away from being a perfect performance for me by Richarlison. It really, really was. And I think he was desperate for his goal as well, but unfortunately he didn't get that. But hopefully he can go out against Villa and get that goal. I thought he put in a really, really solid performance. And there you go. Defensively, Yerry Mina, excellent again. Very frustrating that he's gone off injured, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. But we'll hear from Carlo Ancelotti on Wednesday about that before the Aston Villa game. Michael Keane as well, by the way. Special shout out for Michael Keane yesterday. A player who I've spoken about openly a number of times on this channel and said that he doesn't work in a 5 at the back. He can't play in a 5 at the back. Looked very comfortable yesterday, looked very good. Showed yesterday that, do you know what, maybe he can play in a 5 at the back. Maybe he is comfortable doing that. Ben Godfrey again. Look, you know, what do we need to say about Ben Godfrey? He's an excellent defender, and he showed that he's an excellent playmaker yesterday as well. And ultimately, a fantastic win for Everton. Not the best performance, not the best game of football to watch, not the most entertaining, but it was effective. And like I said before, and I'll carry on saying it, if you were to say to me, right Cam, the Villa game on Thursday isn't very entertaining, but it's effective and Everton win. The Wolves game isn't very entertaining, but it's effective. Same with the Sheffield United game. I'd snap your hand off for it. I don't care how pretty it is to watch Everton play at the moment. I don't care how amazing we are or how many chances we have, as long as we're winning games of football and as long as we're effective. We dug deep yesterday and we battled and we showed a side to ourselves that we've showed a lot of times away from home this season, but we haven't showed anywhere near enough times at Goodison Park. We need to show that side of us at Goodison Park in the game against Sheffield United and in the game against Wolves. That side where we're not afraid to dig deep, we're not afraid to get ourselves involved in the challenges, we're not afraid to throw ourselves about. And if we do that, you know, I firmly believe we'll win every one of our remaining games prior to Manchester City, and we'll see what happens in the game against Manchester City. But ultimately, this win, this performance, you know, stands for nothing if we don't win on Thursday, and especially if we don't beat Sheffield United at home next week. So, massive win, brilliant result. You know, again, brilliant performance for me. Not the greatest game, not the greatest performance in terms of football, but a brilliant performance in terms of getting in, digging deep, working hard, defending really well, not allowing West Ham, you know, any real chance. I know they had a couple, but other than that, not allowing them any real opportunity for most of the game to get through us, and effective on the counter-attack and taking the chance when we needed to. Clinical by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that's what's most important. Tudy says, can't believe Ben Rama didn't score, can't believe Josh King didn't score either. Exactly, mate. Kelly says, we need 10 quality players this summer. We need investment, we do. Carlo Ancelotti knows that, Marcel Brands knows that. We need heavy investment this summer. This win, I'm not going to sit here now and go, right, we don't need the right back now, or we don't need the right winger. We absolutely do. We still, my opinion hasn't changed from after the Villa game. We still need the right winger. We still need another centre midfielder. We still need the right back. But again, we showed a vintage Everton away performance this season, and you know, hopefully we don't show a vintage Everton home performance in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we perform a lot better. Roberto says, not enough said about Godfrey's balls. If it was Hammers, we'd be going on about it for days. What a ball. Said it before, mate. It's exquisite. You know, we all knew that Ben Godfrey was an exceptional defender. We all knew that he was a versatile defender. We all knew he could play left back, right back, centre midfielder. But he stepped into James Rodriguez's boots yesterday and he played as a playmaker, and it was an exquisite ball. The weight of it was perfect, absolutely perfect, and the finish by Don was great as well. Tudy says, Cam, do you think we keep Tosun and Don Moise Keane? I think they both leave in the summer, if I'm being honest with you, mate. C-Play says, I'm proud to be an Everton fan because our club actually respects the fans, absolutely. And Tudy says, I want to see Gordon and Branthwaite stay. Yeah, I think maybe another loan for both of them next season might do them well, but they won't leave the club permanently. Anyway, look, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. Really do appreciate it. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. Don't forget, by the way, if you haven't already, please do check out the Football News 365 app. Keeps you up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, table, all of that good stuff as well. It's free to download on iOS, Android. It is down in the description. The first link. It helps the channel out massively as well if you could download this, so I really would appreciate that. Anyway, that's me for today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. We will be back tomorrow morning with another live stream. We're going to talk about the latest Everton news, and hopefully we're going to sit down and talk about Yerry Mina as well, because I think it's, you know, it's an important subject at the moment. Mark Cotton says, cheers Cam, new subscriber after seeing you on Toffee TV. Up to fucking Toffee. Thank you very much, Mark. Really do appreciate that, mate. I'll be back on Toffee TV a little bit later on today, but really appreciate that. If you are new and you haven't already, please do subscribe. Massive thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments and we'll get involved with as many of them. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.